LV Cup, just a chance for people to put their hands up again?
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of boys have had opportunities. I mentioned earlier on, boys are going into this game with all out exposure now at this Pro 12. So, but yeah, like Nigel's, it was mentioned that it's a new competition, and something we're looking to go far in is silver at the end of the day, and it's something we need for ourselves and for the supporters.
It was always going to be a different start to the season with the World Cup and so many boys missing. How do you feel it's gone so far?
Yeah, it has been difficult. The results haven't gone our way. Again, it comes down to performances. I think we've been there, we've been in the games, but just one or two decisions from ourselves and possibly one or two referee decisions again has gone against us, and it's left us without a result.
But looking at the table, the Ospreys apart, it's still very tight there, isn't it? It's not as if it's something.
No. We've had 2 wins. There's quite a majority of teams are only on 3 wins. So It has been difficult, only 2 victories, but we're looking on and looking forward. We've got a good 2 weeks now of LV and then straight back into the Pro 12. So it's busy, but it's enjoyable. And like you said, you can't rest on the past. You've got to look forward and take our opportunities. And
I suppose it's important that for the boys here not to think, it's all right, World Cup boys be back in a fortnight or whatever.
It depends on how far they go as well. And every person just wants to be playing week in, week out, and there's opportunities at the end of the day. I just mentioned there, it's up to us as a group now to carry this forward, and it's like you said, the LV does give opportunity to players, but we're looking forward to it.
And it goes without saying, John, the competition's there in the back row again this year.
Yeah, it's the same each year. You can't afford to lay your foot off the gas. A lot of boys have shown it. Josh with injury, Pui stepping in, and myself. It's always competition, and it is hard on times, but that's what you want at the end of the day, and it does push you as an individual.
Leicester, obviously, is one of the standout teams, I suppose, in Europe, aren't they? Regardless of what competition you play them.
No, they're a very strong side. Again, you're going to look back at their results. They're going to be in. They're in a pretty same situation as we've been in, and I think obviously the run up into Europe now, there's boys coming back from that England squad, and they'll be wanting to put that back on that Tigers jersey to get the show back on the road as well.
Does that galvanise the squad here in a way? That you think, alright, we're in the LV Cup there again, if they're coming down strong, then there's going to be some game in the week?
No, I don't think it does. You mentioned the LV Cup, some people perceive it as a lower competition, but as players, you can't afford to approach a game light-hearted, regardless of what opposition the Tigers bring down, because they're representing their club just like we are. So you've got to put in a performance, otherwise things go drastically wrong, and we're not in a position to do that, and we want to put on a show on just for ourselves and our supporters. And
I suppose it goes without saying, if you have success in one competition, it's bound to have a knock-on effect in how you do in others, positively.
Yeah, of course. Every competition you go into, you've got to be positive. Nigel said we're in 3 competitions, and 3 competitions he takes seriously, and as players, if you didn't take that seriously, then you've got to ask questions as an individual. So I mentioned I've not been in a position where I played in a final, so I'm still eager to be in a final, one game, so fingers crossed we can move things forward.
Yeah, because I suppose in this competition you win a couple of games and you've got a great chance of making the semis, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a different situation when with the games playing each other out of your league, but it throws that little adventure into it, we're looking forward to it.
And you come close to that in the last few years, and it's been one of those games.
Yeah, it has been. It's always been tough. It's verged a couple of tries here and there, or a couple of 1 or 2 results.
He scored a late try,
which knocked us out, which was bitterly disappointing. But again, it's English clubs coming down to your home patch as well at the end of the day, and it has got that little bit of edge to it. Like you said, it's a different league, so to speak. So it's good opportunities for us all.
And a chance as well after that great win last weekend, just to keep it going a bit and keep it bubbling.
Yeah, Mark and Simon have mentioned momentum. It's a key word, especially way things have gone this year. Big win against Edinburgh. A so-called rest from the Pro 12, but we want to keep the ball rolling, and it doesn't stop. From last weekend, we got to keep it going, and as a group of players, we know the situation we're in, and we're looking forward to come Saturday again.
And I know he's not dealing with you, but Garen Jenkins coming on board, what kind of impact's he made you?
I think anyone who knows Garen is a character. He's brought a buzz back into the squad, especially as a group of forwards. You know, he's always on your case. He's always, some boys sometimes ask why, but you know, that's the character he is. And in fairness, I think he's doing a good job at the moment. And you know, it's nice to see him on board, you know, and I think he's doing some good things on it.
And proof's in the pudding, I suppose. Last weekend, the scrum.
He won't let anything rest in the scrum. Like, you can hear him on the sideline screaming and shouting. So you're fully aware what he's doing to us. Like, so come Monday, you know, the boys look at the video and you know, we're back on the ball, and again, we're looking at every opportunity we can go into a game to take things forward. But
as a pack, you must take confidence as well that, you know, perhaps in the past it's been seen as almost a perceived weakness here. That, you know, that you can do that to sides.
We've always had that in our mindset. You know, we've never thought that we were in that position as a weak sort of pack, but you know, especially now when you turn things around, you know, especially with scrums, you know, Simon with his defence, but it does come to scrum. If you can nullify the scrum, you know, it's a knock-on effect, and it helps us then. So it has been a little weapon of ours, and you know, and we're moving things forward and building on it.
And with Josh being out for 3 months, is this an opportunity for yourself as secretary as well?
Like you said, you've got to take every opportunity. You know, you can't afford to rest. If you're on the bench or if you're not involved, you know, you're worried for your position, and it seems to be the case with the back row situation. And you know, you've got to be fighting for every opportunity to get on that field, and you know, you can't let things rest. And you know, Josh is a great player. He knows the situation. He'll know that you know, myself and Pui and boys will be on his back. But like you said, we're all good friends off the field, and we're all good, you know, we're good rivals on the field as well. So it's a good thing.
And great, John, to see the Welsh boys and the Scarlet's boys doing so well down under there.
You know, it's great to see, especially like you said, so many Scarlet's boys performing in the Welsh jersey, and you know, things are moving forward down here, and like you said, it is good to see these kind of boys performing at this high level. And you know, I'm sure come Saturday now with another victory against France, it'll be another boost as well.
How do you feel when the 17, 18-year-old boys coming in the team every year? How's that?
I'm still looking at these team programs, and you're looking at the date of births, but. No, it's good. It's great, and you know, I remember putting myself in that position. And you know, I understand what they're going through, so you know, they're itching to get on that field as well. So you know, it's good to see them coming on board and learning and getting the experience as well. Because that's all you need, that's all you want as a youngster, is to get in this environment.
And once you've had a taste of it, I suppose, you know.
It does. You know, they know it's a lengthy process, and you know, you've got to do the hard work as well. So. You know, they're coming in on board, they're learning, and they're taking on everything, especially from Vernon, Simon and Mark as well. You know, they're having a big input on some of the youngsters, and you know, it's nice to see them listening and nice to see them moving forward.